Good afternoon and welcome to Driven Women TV. I am Marie Younger Blackburn. I'm the visionary and the event planner of Driven, Cape Cod's Conference for Women. The purpose of Driven Women TV is to further the mission and the vision of Cape Cod's Conference for Women, which is to bring women together under one roof and share useful and relevant information that they can use to go out and be the change in their own community. So today my guest is Donna Mack, and she is with D Mack Voice and Media, and her business does training and development and in the art of speaking and presenting and persuading. So Donna, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, Marie, thank you so much. You know, it's funny, I was just speaking with somebody the other day and she said, "You alleviate suffering." And I had to laugh when I heard that phrase. And I think it's true because there are so many people who do suffer and struggle when they just think of the possibility of speaking and addressing issues on a one-on-one situation with people, or certainly formally before a large crowd. As we know, fear of speaking is almost the largest fear there is in life.
Sure.
So, yeah, I help people get confident and comfortable in their own skin, first and foremost. And then we figure out what it is they need to say, what it is they need to address, depending upon who their audience is. And I give them the tools to do just that so they can make a difference, make an impact, and again, remain comfortable in their own skin while persuading and making a difference.
Sure, and you surely helped me. We met just over maybe a year ago, just over a year ago, and we met in Middleborough at a networking meeting.
Yes.
And you were the presenter that day, and I remember listening and really getting moved by what you were talking about. You were talking about the 6 pillars of communication.
Right.
And I inadvertently ended up going home with one of your CDs, and I say that because I do not remember purchasing the CD, but
it's my gift to you.
Yeah, it was a gift, and I had that CD. I popped it in the car and I listened to it over and over again. And at that time, I was in the process of planning Cape Cod's first conference for women, and I needed those 6 pillars of communication. I remember I was doing a lot of building at that point and getting sponsors and getting people to buy into my vision and my message. And I remember listening to your CD over and over again and getting those principles, like understanding yourself, really knowing who I was before I met with people, and understanding my audience, knowing who I was talking to, mastering my content, really getting my vision in line and really being able to articulate that to people, anticipating questions that they had for me. So really preparation, writing down things and getting ready, the ability to deliver it and to teach and to serve the person that I'm talking to. But most importantly, detaching from the outcome. So not really going in with a preconceived notion of what exactly they'd say to me with my request, but really detaching, knowing that I've done my best, correct? Is that what the 6 pillars, you want to talk to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I'm hearing you say that you were in the process of creating the first Driven Women Conference, right? The Cape Cod's first conference for women. And tell me if I'm right. What I'm hearing you saying is that the 6 pillars of effective communication supported you.
Sure.
And that's really what it's intended to do. Because as we speak and communicate, especially as women, as we present ourselves, right? We're selling ourselves, we're selling our products, we're selling our services. And so often, especially in your situation, you're making it up.
Yes.
Right? You're blazing the trails for the first time ever. So I'm so glad to hear that the 6 pillars gave you a template right?
Yes.
Gave you support. So when you had a question, like before you headed out, you made sure that you said to yourself, have I gone through the checklist
Sure.
of sorts? Have I taken time to really understand myself, my value, what I bring to the table, and more importantly, understand your audience? Because as we know, we could have the same keynote speech or the same presentation, but so often, if you're taking that presentation and you just did it before the board of directors, and now you're turning around and you're doing it to your employees, the board of directors mindset is absolutely different than your employees mindset. So do you need to tweak things along the way? You sure do. You sure do. And in terms of the detaching from the outcome goes, thank you so much for bringing that up, because so often people see my 6 pillars and they go, okay, I get it. I get understanding yourself, your audience, knowing your content, getting in their heads, anticipating questions and reactions, and delivering so you're confident and comfortable in your own skin. And then they get to detaching from the outcome and they say, that doesn't make any sense. Aren't I attached to the outcome? Don't I really want them to either buy from me, or don't I really want to make sure that I persuade them or influence them or change them or do whatever? And I always remind people that if you go through pillars number 1 through 5, right, take that time, you're prepared enough to detach from the outcome. And when you detach from the outcome, your energy is totally different.
Sure.
When you're attached to the outcome, right, think about it, your energy is a little stressed. When you're detached from the outcome, you're confident and comfortable in your own skin. And you realize that you have done the best you can.
Sure. Yeah, audience, I just want you to know it's this level of enthusiasm and preparedness that we're going to have at Cape Cod's Conference for Women. One of the criteria that I use for our speakers, people who send in resumes and workshop ideas, is that they would be interactive, that they would draw the participant into the conversation and give them things to think about and leave them with inspiration and some tools to be able to go out and to use in their workplaces or in their homes, their communities. So Donna is the epitome of what I look for, and I'm really glad to have you on for a second year. Excuse me. Donna was our moderator last year, and we're happy to say that she would be our moderator again this year, and she'll also be our closing keynote / town hall style speaker. We're going to have her present some information to women that they're going to be able to take right away and go and implement and use. And we invite our participants to think of questions in advance to be able to give Donna. And we'll share more about what she'll be speaking in a minute. But I remember some of the comments that I got from women after you moderated and spoke last year. People were continually asking about you throughout the year, and people were saying things like, who is that woman? Her voice, it's so wonderful. She could read me a bedtime story, you know? So Donna is a radio host as well. She does podcast and a lot of online work using her voice, and it's just a pleasure to have you and your skill set. I think you up-level our conference, so we're happy to have you.
It's my honest to goodness absolute honor to be your moderator and your afternoon person, keynote speaker again this year, Marie. You know, as we know, to put together a conference such as yours is not an easy process. You know, you need a lot of players, and it's just absolutely wonderful that you're of the mindset that we are better women when we work together.
Sure.
And when we collaborate. You couldn't do it all on your own, as I can't do it all on my own as well. So I'm absolutely, again, honored to be helpful again this year. And in the meantime, I really so appreciate bonding with you and having an opportunity to address your audience as well, because there are so many questions surrounding communication. as we know. It's not an easy process. On a personal level, one-on-one,
Sure.
and on a professional level as well. So I'm really glad that you mentioned the fact that we want to hear from the audience.
Yes.
You know, it's so easy for us to think we know what the audience wants and what the audience needs. And yes, I will give them some tidbits and some things that they can take with them and help them later on that afternoon, or certainly help them when they go back to work the next day. But it's going to be great when we open up the forum. I want to call it a forum of sorts, like
Sure.
a town hall forum. And I want to hear from your women as to how they're struggling and what they're specifically dealing with, so we can help them as best as we can. Again, personally and professionally, to help them open up the lines of communication with their family members,
Sure.
with their significant others, with the people they work with. So often, you know, if you say you're dealing with a manager in any specific corporation needs to be able to communicate upstream to his or her boss, CEO, whomever, downstream to his or her employees, and across the board as well, right? They need to be able to communicate in 3 different places. And again, understand thou audience. You could have the same type of message, but how can you craft it in such a way that it's a benefit to all, that it's a benefit obviously to you, but also your boss, a benefit to you and your employees, and a benefit to you and your colleagues.
So if you're intrigued, audience, and you really want to know more, come down on March 10th, 2016 to the beautiful Seacrest Beach Hotel in North Falmouth. And there you'll be able to hear Donna, and you'll be able to take a look at her new book that she has coming out. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And you'll be able to give some questions that will help you. Donna, we were talking about this earlier, and how women, I think, by nature maybe, they have a little bit of difficulty asking for what they want. They have a little bit of difficulty seeing their value. They have difficulty with confrontation often, because it's hard to have those conversations. Sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get back, and I think there's a fear element that goes on with women, and we're really trying to push through that. And I know when you deliver your message to us, you're going to help us with that. Do you have an idea where that stems from in women?
Well, think about why we choose not to speak. Why do you choose not to confront your significant other? Why do you choose not to walk into the boss's office and ask for a raise? If I were to ask you that, Marie, why do women in particular choose not to speak? What are they afraid of? What do they think is going to happen? What do you think?
I don't know. I think we're going to be judged, or we fear the worst, you know.
Right.
So,
We're automatically assuming that the audience, right, is going to be looking negatively upon us. We are afraid of humiliation. We're afraid of saying the wrong thing and not being perfect. First, is there any such thing as perfection? No. And what's more important than perfection? What's more important is the opportunity to be honest, to really be yourself.
Sure.
Because especially in this day and age, I believe that's what's missing, right? And that's what people are hungry for. People are hungry to work with people that they know they can trust. And who do you trust? You trust somebody who's not afraid to be themselves.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So it's up to us, as women in particular, to ask ourselves the question, are we brave enough, right, to walk into that situation where, yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable from time to time. It feels awkward to communicate. It is challenging for everybody, even people who have been in the communications industry for 30 plus years, to broach these uncomfortable subjects, certainly from time to time. But less uncomfortable the more you do it.
Sure.
So it takes time, and
does.
it takes practice. And again, it takes knowledge, and it takes support. right?
And there's a difference between saying what you need to say and saying anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? I used to think that I was a good communicator because I said what was on my mind. And there's a big difference when you really learn to communicate so that you're not harmful to someone else and you're not harmful to yourself.
Right.
You know, so you really have a message that is, like you said, authentic and real and useful.
Yes, right.
You know, have a useful conversation. And we talked about this earlier, there's a win-win in that, right?
Right.
So there's something that you need and there's something that I need. And how can we communicate to that to one another so that we all win? Because we all want each other to be successful.
Right,
You know,
right.
so I think that's an important
This is
message.
good because you have to remember in any kind of communicative situation, there are always three sides to every communication story, I tell people. So at home, say it's between you and your significant other, right? The three sides, you're one side, your significant other is the other side, the third side is your relationship. Or the third side could be your family. It could be your marriage. So again, three sides, right? In work, say there are two employees who are challenged, right? Their lines of communication aren't open. So the three sides there, it's you, it's them, and the third side could be the department. The entire department knows what's going on. Or it could be the company as a whole, right? The collaboration isn't ongoing. The collaboration isn't healthy. Therefore, you're being affected, they're being affected, and the company's being affected. So this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned something else about the style of communication. You know, there are four basic styles of communication. There's passive communication. We choose not to speak. There's aggressive communication, and I think that's what you were talking about. And I think a lot of people automatically assume, all right, I need to speak.
Sure.
So whatever pops into their mind, it just comes out.
Yes.
And oftentimes it comes out aggressively or assertively. But you're right, because for it to come out assertively or aggressively, what they are forgetting is that win-win-win. They want to win themselves. Follow me, all right?
Sure.
They do want to make sure that they're not remaining passive, that they do want to muster the courage for it to come up and out, okay? But in assertive or aggressive communication, oftentimes what they're forgetting is they also want it to be a win for that other person, okay? So they want to make sure that that other person can save face. That at the end of the conversation, it can be a win for both of you. And actually, all of you. Win, win, win.
Sure.
So again, four kinds of communication. Your goal is to try not to be passive, because when you're passive, nothing happens. Try not to be assertive or aggressive, because you want to build trust.
Sure.
Right? You certainly don't want to be passive aggressive, because we all know that can get us into trouble. Your goal is to be as effective as possible, to understand yourself, understand your audience, and to do your best to make it a win-win-win for all. And this is not easy work.
Sure.
But with time, with diligence, and with support, it can happen.
Sure. And you described yourself at the beginning as someone who, or someone described you as someone who alleviates suffering. And I think that what you're saying is that when we learn to communicate effectively, there's a lot that we can avoid. A lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of internalizing. I think that could lead to illness, or I think a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about what other people think, or what they're going to say, or how they're being judged. I just want you to kind of share with the audience a little of your background, and I want to know, did you come this way, or where did you learn these skills? Because you know, obviously you have mastered the art of communication, or you're in the learning process, because we're all learning,
right.
And we're growing. But I think you're a little further along than most. You've developed some techniques and a skill that helps you to really deliver what you want to say. But I want to know, did you always have your voice?
Oh no, oh no. Are you kidding me? And do I almost always encounter some discomfort prior to going on stage or prior to opening up the microphone? Of course.
Sure.
Of course. I mean, the goal is not to be 100% confident 100% of the time, because there is no such thing. The goal is to always be open to growing and learning something new. Okay? So the goal is absolutely more confidence, but not 100% confidence all the time. There were so many questions in what you just said.
There were two, actually.
Yeah. I think the fact that I did broadcasting for many, many years has been very helpful, because think about it. You're on the air and you're talking to like thousands and thousands of people all at once, every day. And in reality, where are you? You are in a small radio booth by yourself. Sure. So I spent an exorbitant amount of time in their heads. Who are they? What do they need? Depending upon the time of day, depending upon the time of year, depending upon the weather. Is a snowstorm happening outside? Did 9/11 just happen? You know, how are they feeling? And what do I need to say to move them to action, to be persuasive and to be effective? Because my goal was to have them stay tuned.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And to create what I was going to say in a way that's as compelling but concise as possible to make a difference. And especially in this day and age, Marie, because concise is more important now than ever. We're undergoing communications overload, like we have never encountered it before. So I work with a lot of thought leaders who have a boatload of information, and they are absolutely brilliant, and they've worked in their industries for 20, 30 plus years. How can I take this information and create whatever it is they need to create, whether it be a 45-minute keynote speech, or whether it be a 5-minute podcast, or whether it be an uncomfortable, challenging, one-on-one conversation with somebody else to make a difference in their lives. So again, much of it has to do with understanding yourself, again, right? Yeah. Understanding your audience, mastering your content, getting into their heads. Who are they? How can I affect them? And then pillar number 5 is, how can I deliver in a way that's not stiff, that's really authentically me and real, not perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. And how can I serve my audience? So I'm able to get to the point where I can say, I've done the best I can do, and I'm going to detach from the outcome now, and if they're supposed to buy from me, they will. And if they're supposed to cry, it's okay. And if they're supposed to be motivated and persuaded, they'll do that as well. I cannot expect 100% perfection. If I can get, hey, 85 to 92, then I've done my job.
Perfect, yeah. And that is, it just brings me back to Cape Cod's Conference for Women and my passion for really bringing that to this area. At this time, we have so many talented women like yourself, so many women who are professionals, and they have a message that they want to deliver. So when we come together under one roof, we have the ability to network and to get to know one another, share our information. You talked about information, you know, spend some time talking to one another, and we all win. We go away with a win. My saying is that we're better together than we are apart. So I'm really just so excited to have you again on board, to be able to share your knowledge with the women and bring it in such a dynamic way. You will be moderating our opening panel. Our theme this year is Women Who Make a Difference in the Lives of Others. So we have 6 of the leading nonprofits here on Cape Cod. Just 6, because we know there are more, but we have 6 of the leading, like Stacy Pugh from the YMCA and Fiona Jensen from Karma Choice. We have Barbara Milligan from the United Way, and and more. Lucetta Hurge Putnam from Independence House.
And we can learn from all of them.
Oh my goodness, there's so much. So Donna Mack is going to introduce them, and she's going to lead them in a couple of questions so that they can share with the audience. So we're really excited about that. And then we're going to have you again in the afternoon to talk about your exciting new book that will be very helpful to all, really, women and men, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. And I want you to share with the audience your book, the title of your book, and the goal of this book.
Well, can I tell you a quick story first?
Absolutely.
Marie invited me to the Driven Women Conference last year, Cape Cod's first conference for women. And again, I was very honored. It was wonderful to be part of the day. And, you know, as we're preparing to deliver a keynote speech or whatever we're doing, so many thoughts come up, right? And I had really worked hard on making sure that I did the best I could to teach the women while I was there and to give them some tidbits, as we had mentioned, so they could take them and it would be beneficial for them as they move forth in their personal lives and their professional lives. And as I was driving home last year, I was just thinking about the whole day. You know, we had done so many magnificent things. You know, of course, I shared, but you also shared. And I learned from the women who were on the panel last year, and I was motivated by them. And what came to me was the fact that, and tell me if you agree.
Okay.
In order for women in particular to get to the level, whatever level it is that they want to get to, you know what, if they want to be stay-at-home moms, more power to them. Whatever they want to do for their lives, for their block of time, whether it be 5 years or for the remainder of their life. Or whether they want to acquire the seat in the C-suite. They need to speak and they need to communicate. They need to not only be able to sell themselves, they need to be able to sell their products, their services, their company. Therefore, they need to find their voice and they need to speak their mind, right? Find your voice and speak their mind. So I'm driving home and I said, I'm going to write a book and it's going to be called Find Your Voice and Speak Your Mind. So I'm just thinking, and the sun was shining through the window, Marie, and I believe it was a little bit of divine intervention at the same time. And all of a sudden, what rose to the top, what came to me, is the fact that I believe that what women also need is the ability to, before they find their voice and speak their mind, to know their worth. Right? It's so easy for me or for anybody else to say, oh, just find your voice, just get your confidence, find your voice and speak your mind, right? Here's the template, follow this, just go do it. No, we really need to take time on pillar number one and know our worth and know our value first. Because as women, think about it, what do? We take care of others.
Sure.
I think that's the way we were born. We're born nurturers. Right? We're born to take care of our hubbies, our significant others, our bosses, whatever. That comes easily to us. What doesn't come easily to us is focusing on ourselves, self-care. And that needs to come first. And are there women who get the know your worth part? Yes. Thank goodness. So I highly recommend that if you're already there and you already know your worth and can find your voice and speak your mind, if you can take that element of knowing your worth and making sure that whether it be your employees, right? If you are the manager or the boss of a group of people, men or women, especially millennials, ask yourself the question, are they able to find their voices and speak their minds? And where are they in the know your worth place?
I'm so glad that your new book was inspired by Driven Cape Cod's Conference for Women, and that is my goal. Part of my goal and my vision is to inspire. I wrote my purpose statement years ago working with a life coach, and it was to inspire with the written and the spoken word. So I think it's coming to fruition now. And Cape Cod's Conference for Women is that venue for that. So I would just invite you to go to our website today, www.capecodsconferenceforwomen.com, and get your tickets today. You're going to have speakers like Donna Mack and others who will be there to inspire you to move forward, to find your voice, to move forward in your careers and in your home life, and more importantly, to be the change in your own community. So again, we're here today with Donna Mack. She's the owner of DMAC Voice and Communications and Media, and she has written a new book, and you'll see her at Cape Cod's Conference for Women on March 10th, 2016 at the beautiful Seacrest Hotel in North Falmouth. And we are so delighted to have you here today. You've come down from Rehoboth to be with us, and to spend some time with us this weekend, and I enjoyed you, and I just look forward to our wonderful weekend that we're going to have there, and just getting to know one another more and bonding.
Thank you so much for creating not only the structure but the place to bring women together from all sorts of different places, not only from Cape Cod. They're coming in from all over the place, aren't they? They're coming down from Boston.
They're coming from all points Boston. They're coming from the South Shore. They're coming from Maryland, and they're coming from Atlanta, New York, Rhode Island. So I'm so excited at a time of year when Cape Cod's often forgotten about. So it drives the economy. Women come down and they spend money, they spend time, they get to know each other, and they do business here. So we're really happy to be that vehicle for that kind of change here on Cape Cod. And we're going to be doing it again and again and again.
It's amazing, I must say, being on the Cape in the wintertime. It's so special. I think it's one of the best kept secrets.
It is.
Yeah, and the Seacrest Beach Motel, or hotel rather. The Seacrest Beach Hotel is just such a fabulous, beautiful venue. Last year, remember the winter we had last year? The ocean had actually frozen. Somebody told me it was the first time in 55 years that it was so cold last year. The ocean had actually frozen, and it was still absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, and it's going to be that way again this year, even more beautiful. So we have a lot planned. So again, we're here with Donna Mack of DMAC Voice and Media, and I just thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
So.